you ever wondered whether or not you are capable of having a mystical experience? In this video, I'm going to share a little bit about some of my own mystical experiences and how to know whether or not you are experiencing a mystical experience. Let's start by describing what a mystical experience is. In my book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World, published by Atmosphere Press, I explore the concept of what I call the collective divine, which Carl Jung, who is the founder of depth psychology or Jungian psychology, described this field as the collective unconscious. It is a field that exists in our unconscious that we can access when we sit in stillness, when we meditate. And in this field is the myths and stories of all of existence and archetypes that help us make sense of our human experience. And when we access this field of awareness through meditation, which is the easiest way to access it, we can have what are called mystical experiences. Science shows that what happens during a mystical experience is the part of the brain that is responsible for creating a sense of separateness stops activating and it kind of goes offline and it's silent. And so we can feel this sense of unity, this sense of oneness, this sense of interconnectivity. It also shows that the frontal lobe becomes hyperactive, and the frontal lobe is responsible for feelings of compassion and collaboration and desire to work for the common good of all. A mystical experience is when these parts of the brain are triggered during meditation and you begin to have visions, or what Western psychology calls hallucinations. You start to have visions of the myths that are in the collective. I'll share a story of my own experience of tapping into this field of awareness. And in 2008, I had an experience that was mystical in nature, where I was getting a massage and I was in a very relaxed state of being. And as I was lying on the massage table, I noticed that my body started to move on its own. And it moved into the position of what my Catholic upbringing told me was the position that Jesus, or Yeshua, which is what his name is in Arabic, was when he was crucified, which is part of the myth of Christianity and Catholicism. And my body was kind of in a T, like it was on the cross, my legs crossed over. And I felt what felt like stab wounds go into my palms and my feet, as well as the side of my body. And I felt immense pain in those areas. And then I was filled with immense fear that I was dying, fear that the gifts and talents that I was offering were being misunderstood and misconstrued. And then I had visions of what I imagined was Yeshua, or Jesus, if you prefer, life. And I saw Yeshua sitting in meditation with others, and he was chanting. I saw images of him placing his hands on individuals and doing energy healings. And as I saw these visions, my body started to feel easeful and calm, and it relaxed and moved out of the position of the hands on the cross. And I just had this knowing that we all have access to this level of consciousness, the collective divine, as I call it, and was having a mystical experience. There was an aspect of my psyche that understood, and I would come to understand through studying spirituality and energy work and psychic abilities and kind of a variety of things, that many people have experienced this throughout their lives. In fact, Saint Teresa, there's a book about Saint Teresa's life, and Saint Teresa had mystical experiences. Ram Dass had mystical experiences. Eckhart Tolle, who is a teacher who wrote The Power of Now, has had mystical experiences. And I theorize in my book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World, that every human being is capable of having mystical experiences and can tap into this field called the collective unconscious in depth psychology, and what I call the collective divine. In all of my videos, I am sharing information that is in my book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World, which is published by Atmosphere Press. I hope that you are all doing well. Know that you are deeply loved, not by just me, but by this field of awareness that I call the collective divine, that many individuals have tapped into and had their own experience and have tried to explain through spiritual traditions and religions. And it can be hard to understand. You don't need to have a belief system in spirituality. Science does show that this state of existence is possible in the brain, and science cannot yet prove if we are perceiving this or we are creating it. But scientists say it doesn't matter which it is. What matters is that it is deeply impactful and helps us be more compassionate human beings.